Let's talk about some of the more current affairs stuff that's going on.
The infrastructure money is still there. Nothing has really impacted infrastructure. So we're okay.
There's a lot of opportunities there. A lot of things to help support and build.
Yes. What the $1 trillion bill is giving us is only the surface. What they're not giving and what the future is, what is underground. Your water, your sewer, your drainage. That's been sitting there for hundreds of years. We're not touching those.
Did you take a pay cut to start the company?
We were no pay.
No pay.
So that was the discussion, like where is the point of turning back? If we don't get anything in 6 months or 9 months or 1 year.
The company has grown pretty rapidly. What is your secret? I would like to know, actually. This is The Build Up, a podcast by Procon Consulting. So I'm super excited to have Chowdhary on the show. Welcome to The Build Up.
Thank you.
Now, I should just maybe start off by saying you are one of the co-founders of CES, one of the top ENR 100 firms in the local area.
Yeah.
Maybe you can just give us a quick background about who you are and how did you get here?
I was originally from India, right? So born in a city called Chennai. That's a coastal southern tip of India. Okay. My dad was a mechanical aeronautical engineer. So he was a professor at one of these MIT type institutions in India. So it's called Indian Institute of Technology. Right. So all these tech CEOs, they all graduate from there.
Really?
Yeah, like CEO, IBM, and all these, Microsoft, all these guys. It was a campus. I grew up in the campus, born there, grew up there, and went to school right across the street. Right? Your house is here, you cross the road, your school is there. That's it. And right about when I was the 10th grade, I started developing a lot of interest in a sport called cricket. And
we know cricket. I know it's not big. It's not real popular here.
It's not popular here. But what cricket did to me was just incredible. I think cricket gave me the path to America.
Really?
Yes, and I'll tell you why. So right about that point where I developed this interest of cricket, I became really good. And I was selected to represent the state. So what that did is, I'm not sure how it works here in America, but in India, there is a certain set-aside seats in professional colleges for sports personnel.
Wow.
Yes. So there's 1% of all engineering seats and all medical seats are reserved for sports guys.
Sports.
So I fit into that. I wasn't a very studious guy. So I was not the books guy. My brother, sister, everybody was books. My dad was into the books. He was writing books and all that kind of stuff. I was not. I was playing. So this gave me the opportunity to get into engineering school.
Wow.
So my dad was mechanical, my brother was industrial, and so my dad really wanted somebody to get into the civil side, the civil engineering, because civil engineering is really the foundation of, I think it's the foundation of engineering. You know, if you go back like thousands of years, right, everything starts with civil, and then it progressed into mechanical and electronics and all the other engineering fields, right? So he said, man, I want you to do civil. I said, fine, civil is the easiest.
It kind of is, but it's very hands-on.
Yeah, very hands-on. I said, cool. So he said, all I want from you is finish it in 4 years. I don't care how you do it. You finish it in 4 years. I finished in 4 years. So what I did, and I don't know if I regret it or not, so right after I got into engineering, I retired from cricket. I said, I'm done.
Really?
Yeah. So because it's either you go study and get a path, job, a business, whatever, or try to grow yourself in this profession, right? So back in the day, it was not very financially stable sport. I mean, you get a job. I mean, they will give you a government job. So you get a government job, you're set. You get a government job, you get a retirement pension, your salary comes every month. So you would get a job. I would have got a job, no problem. But that would be it. No progression, nothing, right? So I decided, okay, let me take the engineering side, and then I retired from cricket, took the engineering side, and then that led me to America and did my master's here in the South Dakota School of Mines and Tech. And after I finished, I said, I'm going to the sunniest state in America. I'm done with the snow and the cold. I went to California.
Wow.
And,
I didn't know you were in California.
Yeah, worked for CalTrans 4 years and then moved to Virginia because working for the government, they would not sponsor you for a green card.
Okay.
So I had to leave the government job, CalTrans job, and come over here and worked for a firm called Lewis Berger. I don't know if you're familiar with that. So worked for Berger 2 years, got my green card, then went into PB at that time. Now it's WSP. Worked for them for 7-8 years. And then VDOT started this new division called Project Controls. Mm-hmm. And so at that time, we were kind of scratching the surface in terms of scheduling and all that. And so we started getting into P3 at that time.
Yeah.
Short track. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yeah, familiar, short track.
Yeah.
I was a project scheduler right out of college. So
yeah,
I'm
short track and P3 and all that. Yeah. And so they were starting the division and gave me an opportunity and gave me a stability too, because you were still having young kids, and my wife had just started a residency, so VDOT job was really helpful. You could really
provide some stability,
and you had the flexibility and lots of holidays. And so then 6 years VDOT, and then we was just sitting around and decided I got to do something different. And then we looked at the market, and there was not enough depth in project controls.
Right.
And so the analogy I always use is project controls, at least for CES, was the Navy SEAL. That they're the guys who go down. You don't know the terrain. You don't know how difficult it is. You don't know the challenges.
I've never heard it actually described that way, the Navy SEAL.
Navy SEAL. So with Navy SEAL as project controls, you go in, you clear the mines and all the hardship and everything, and then the troops come right behind. The Army and the Navy guys come right behind. So that basically was the story of how we, started off and saw there was no depth and said, okay, let's do project controls. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some of the more current affairs stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
I'd love to get your take on, I know I have my own personal, ups and downs at the beginning of the year with the new administration, the uncertainty. Love to just get your take on that.
Yeah, so I think the biggest impact of the new administration has been obviously it put brakes on recruiting. Mm-hmm. And one of the big at least advantages we had as an Indian firm is there's so many Indian students, right? So a lot of Indian students come and they follow the same path that we were. So we kind of understand that process very well.
Do you hire a lot from Indian?
I mean, we were before the new administration, right? So it was still difficult, but at least it was easier, not this kind of very strict enforcement. Enforcement meaning they would literally come to your office to check and see if that individual is here or not.
Yeah.
If you're paying that individual that X salary, because there's a criteria, a threshold you need to meet to hire some of these people, right? So that kind of didn't put a total stop, but your ability to grow. These guys are all master's students and they're talented and they have the skill base and everything. And I think that is a big mistake. Number one reason, I'll tell you why, right? The country spends $0 on these people, meaning their education is, you didn't spend a penny. How much is the government spending on every individual that goes through high school? I think the numbers I saw was $250,000 to $350,000 per person. You get these individuals from some other country, they study there, you don't spend a penny, they study masters here, and then they're coming here to contribute, to be more innovative, to have an edge on technology, science, and all that kind of stuff, that you really need these people. That's exactly what you want. You should not put hurdles and hardship to people like that, where it's a benefit for the country and the benefit for the economy too.
Right, particularly ones that, I don't know, I'm a little impartial to the engineering field as well.
Yeah.
I mean, we have such a huge labor shortage in the industry, and just getting more talent to come into this country
I think so,
is something that I think we should all look at. So
because they bring new ideas, and they're willing to take risks. And they're looking at these opportunities, like my uncle told me, right? Somebody is telling them, the sky is the limit. You work hard, the sky is the limit. You can do anything, right? So everybody is coming with that mindset.
So you've been impacted in terms of some of the recruiting processes that you've had in place.
Mm-hmm.
Any other challenges you've been facing?
So with the new administration, initially we thought that, or at least the attempt was made to take some of the $1 trillion infrastructure bill money away.
Mm-hmm. Are you seeing any of that?
No, the courts have ruled against it. The courts have said you cannot touch it. Government backed away and didn't pursue that. So the infrastructure money is still there. Nothing has really impacted infrastructure. So we're okay. I think that's why I've been telling Daryl and other people in ProCon needs to focus a little bit more on the infrastructure side.
Right. Because there's a lot of opportunities
opportunities.
A lot of things to help support and build.
Yes. I'll tell you why there's the infrastructure, the $1 trillion bill is so important. In a public things, the roadway is easy to construct. You don't know you cannot scan the entire 1 mile of roadway to figure out the soil condition, right?
Right.
The soil could be clay
You'd
here.
be spending a ton of money just on borings.
Exactly.
Because those aren't
the borings,
cheap, right?
It's not cheap. So what VDOT does, or the federal government says, okay, I'm only going to pay you for every 500 feet of bores. You can't go and bore every 50 feet. I mean, you really need to every 50 feet because it changes.
Yeah, you don't know if it was disturbed or not.
Yes.
It could have been disturbed.
Yeah. So the next infrastructure boost is going to be what is underground. What the $1 trillion bill is giving us is only the surface. What they're not giving and what the future is, your water, your sewer, your drainage, has been sitting there for hundreds of years. We're not touching those. The reason they're not touching that is you got new regulations, you got new design criteria, that the minute you touch, you just cannot go and say, okay, I want to replace the storm drainage from this drop inlet to that drop inlet. No. You have to do a complete hydraulic analysis of the whole network, which may be a 1 square mile, which is great for us. It's opportunities, but it's also money. It's expenses.
Yeah, I do think that all of our systems that we've put in the ground, they've been mostly put in the ground many, many years ago when we had a big boom.
They're clogged, like drainage is clogged, asbestos pipes.
And even our water, I mean, you already starting to see a lot of the treatment facilities kind of being handed over to the private entity because it's unsustainable to be able to maintain year after year after year. And so you're seeing that trend all across the country.
Yeah, it is actually showing up now more on the facilities too, on the building side. That now that I've been there, DC courts for almost a year and a half, you're seeing their infrastructure, meaning their buildings are falling apart.
Right.
They're all old. They don't meet standards. They don't have the security. They just have to upgrade a lot of those basic necessities. For example, bathrooms. We have a project right now. Bathroom didn't have exhaust fans because back in the day it was a historic building,
right?
And your exhaust is a window, and so they would have windows in the bathroom, no exhaust fans. So now our job, one of the projects, is to put an exhaust fan in the bathroom. And you cannot penetrate through the wall because the brick is historic.
Historic, right.
So you got to find the duct somewhere. And so just finding that and plugging into that is not going to cut it.
Right.
Now you got to do an analysis. You got to calculate, how much of this intake is coming in and how much you're get.
So how much of the cost of actually doing something is actually the work itself or all the work that leads up to getting that work done. And so I get it. Like when you're working on projects of historic buildings, a pretty large part of the cost is ensuring that you're not, compromising the building. History and integrity.
Everything, It's interesting, but it's also challenging, and it's pretty good actually.
Do you have a pulse on any of the big beautiful bill or anything like that, and its impact to the infrastructure?
Well,
and the work that you're doing.
You can't. The big beautiful bill. It can be greedy, but it does save us money. Because the business tax is low. So that is really interesting, right? So what they've been telling is, oh, it's going to save you on tax money, you're going to invest. We did not really factor that in, when the tax break was there or when that was gone under the Biden administration. That was not part of our progressive growth, right? Oh, we got this money because of tax. Let's grow and invest in a different region or whatever. No, we never had that. So I think it's good to have that money, but if you're a firm that has got a vision and a path and a strategic plan of what you want to do and where you want to go, that is not instrumental in your growth process.
Yes, I mean, I agree. I think you got to build your business and focus on what you do and what you do well.
Yeah.
And everything else you can't control.
Yeah, you can't control. Yeah.
You can't control.
Yeah.
You do what you know.
Exactly. It may be there today, not going to be there tomorrow, so your train cannot stop.
So maybe this is a good time. Maybe you can just kind of describe what the CES do. Just a little bit of like a synopsis of your firm.
So it's very interesting on how we grew. And I tell you that because looking back, right? So, and then when you compare with other firms which are very structured, we had none of that, right? And
you're just engineers, roll up your sleeve, humble.
Yeah. And so our meetings when we started the company was at Wendy's. And because Wendy's was $1 coffee, unlimited. And they had the best lights. So we would go to Wendy's and sit there and then come up with all this strategy of who we're going to meet this week, right? So, okay, you go meet this list of companies, you go meet this list of companies. So just the three of us, right? So 3 partners, so we would list.
And who are the 3 partners?
Avtar Singh, myself, and Kumar.
And then are they all VDOT?
They were all VDOT. Yeah, we were all VDOT.
People you met.
Yeah. Yeah, we knew each other for a long time, and we kind of said it's kind of boring here, let's do something, right? So we would sit in Wendy's and strategize where we want to go and who we want to meet and that kind of stuff. And so when we got our first contract, we focused more on maintenance. And here's the reason why. So maintenance, you can put more bodies, right? Versus project controls is just one, just me, because I'm the only project controls. Okay, great. You can do some really high project management type of service, but you're just one guy. Maintenance, you can put 10 people there, just like that.
Could you describe a little bit more what maintenance means in the VDOT world?
So VDOT world maintenance is every year they get lots of money on the paving schedule.
Oh.
So paving schedule money comes from the feds, right? So the feds dictate how many inspectors you need. You can't say, okay, I'll just put 1 inspector and he's going to manage 2 jobs. No, you can't. So on a single paving operation, you'll have to have a minimum 3 inspectors. So just like that, on a single small operation.
And they contract all that out.
All that out to consultants. You get 3, just like that. So by the end of the first year, we were hitting 20 people, all maintenance. It was great from a body perspective, right? Numbers. Right. Not great on the dollars. Fine.
So the rates were not.
Rates are not good.
But hey, it gets the job done. It gives you base to begin operating. You have a little bit of cash flow there.
Yeah. And that opened the door to now the responsible charge engineers or the project managers on construction projects have seen you, right? And they go, oh, can you send some inspectors? We have this construction project.
Right.
And so we started drifting away from maintenance into the construction side. So in 2 years, we went totally off. We turned the switch off. No more paving schedule. We migrated all of our guys into the construction side.
Construction.
More stability from job, long term. More knowledgeable. You can gain knowledge in terms of the different activities involved on a roadway job versus just paving. And then, just the exposure on being a construction project versus a paving schedule, nobody cares. So that really helped out. So it wasn't by plan, but he said, you know what? Oh, they need bodies, we'll put them there.
Well, when you first start, it's hard to plan anything out, right?
Plan anything
you have to kind of, someone described it to me, follow the cookie crumbs. Like you can't dictate where it goes. And so you got to take what you get.
Yeah. And cash flow, like you said,
Yeah.
that was important, right? So at which point are you going to be hitting the panic button?
Right. Let me ask you, did you take a pay cut to start the company?
We were no pay.
No pay.
No pay.
Were you married?
Yeah, I
Did
was
you have
married.
kids?
My wife was making, she finished her residency,
Oh,
because, so she was a doctor. So the money was there to pay mortgage and all the kind of stuff. So that
It's
was
like, honey,
not...
we don't have anything coming in this month.
Yeah, so almost like 6 months there was no pay.
But at least you had some kind of like cushion there. Were all the three partners had sort of similar financial stability going into this?
Yeah. So that was the discussion, like where is the point of turning back? Right? So if we don't get anything in 6 months or 9 months or 1 year.
What was it for you?
So we said 6 months. No, we actually said 1 year. But in 6 months we were on contracts, and the flow was coming in and all that kind of stuff.
So when you first started the company, were you doing the things that you had the skill sets to do, or were you doing more like managing of the company and trying to get work and this and that?
So
were
it was
you billable?
It's all billable.
So you were actually on projects as well.
That's the model we operate from day one to now.
Yeah.
Even today, we're all billable.
Yeah.
100%. I'm 100% billable. Apthor is 100% billable.
Yeah.
And that's what we have on every presentation that we do. We'll have a boot. And our motto is the boots on the ground. We're always boots on the ground guys, right? So we're there. You want us to test, we're all certified. And so which means if somebody doesn't show up for a concrete pour, we can go and test concrete. You have the credentials. So that's something we didn't let go. So we never know, the situation may arise that you may have to step in. You may have to step in to go watch a nighttime maintenance of traffic lane closure. We'll do that, no problem. I've done it even 2 years ago. 495, one of your guys is on that job. I drive around because every week you have to alternate the daytime and nighttime to check the MOT, and then you document all that. So I don't have a problem doing that. So that's the kind of boots on the ground approach.
And you still carry that. I know that personally.
Yeah.
In the work we've done together and with other clients, I've seen you do that.
Yeah.
I mean, we have similar stories. I think like it sometimes, like especially in the early years of starting the company, like I'll step in, I'll do whatever it takes.
I mean, this is literally testing concrete.
Right.
Or the new gauge testing density for soils and backfill. I mean, this is like all the way down.
Yeah. But you got to be willing to do.
Got to be willing to do that.
Yeah. Get your hands dirty.
Get your hands dirty. Yeah.
I love listening to owners, people that, especially a story like yours where you went from, you built the business from the ground up. Like you also worked doing the lowest of the lowest task.
Yeah.
And then here you are, one of the co-founders in a leadership role. I'd love to just get your take on like, what are some of the lasting lessons that you've learned throughout your journey that you could share? So
the lessons learned is always, the big lesson is the work, life, family balance. How you balance that is very important. I had a conversation with my wife, and basically we talked it over and said, okay, the fruits are going to come, right? So when you're 5 years, 6 years, I mean, there is still no money. I mean, there's no distribution. There's nothing.
No, I know.
There's still a lot of sacrifice, still a lot of own monies. Still, you have a company, you got employees, but you still cannot spend anything or enjoy the fruits of the success or anything like that, right?
It's very delayed.
Very delayed, yeah.
Very delayed when you own a company.
It's not immediate. It's not like an IT company or something like that when you get a huge contract. So that was the part, that was the struggle part, like, okay, we're not seeing anything, right? Where are you guys going to be, right? We're already 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, right? Starting a company is a sacrifice for the entire family. Yeah. My first 20 years, we barely traveled. Yeah. And when I was traveling, I would be working. Yeah.
which I had to give up a little bit there.
Yeah.
So, no, I knew exactly what you mean.
So lessons learned from the growth of the company itself is, so it gives me a lot of satisfaction mentoring. And I have no problem mentoring or sharing anything with anybody. Doesn't have to be CS employee, right? Anybody. So holding back on what you've learned and experienced is not a good thing for personally for you as well as for the industry and all that, right? Sharing, there's so much work. Sharing your knowledge and experience and expertise is a good thing to help other people grow. And then when the industry grows and the industry is together, then the customer and the clients like to see that.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to be seeing backstabbing industry partners.
Right.
And they're going to go, why am I wanting to give business to you guys when you can't even get along, right? So that was the mindset, at least in our firm, that, hey, man, it's okay. There's so much work, just get along.
So the company has grown pretty rapidly. What has been your approach? Like, what has been your secret that allowed you guys to grow so rapidly?
I just still go back to boots on the ground kind of mentality, and then being very responsive, taking up any assignment irrespective.
Responsive is such a key word.
Such a key word. And so we were basically at a point we're called the 2 a.m. Firm. Basically, at 2 a.m. you give us a task. At 6 a.m. we'll give you the product. And we work nights and we give them the product, right? So anything they want, whether it's putting together bridging documents for design build, or giving them a independent government estimate,
right,
or doing a contract time, or risk assessment, or even a what you call SWOT analysis. Anything
right.
You want.
You're all in.
You're
all in on your company.
Yeah, and give the customer, the client, what they need.
Right.
Because they're presenting to their bosses, the politicians, the stakeholders, the community, and all that kind of stuff. And they need to have data to support when they go meet these people, right?
I think that's so important. I agree with you. One of the secret to our success, especially early on, has been to develop that reputation that, you know what, I'm available anytime.
Anytime,
You call me, I'm here to help you.
Yeah.
And there's nothing like a person like that to a customer.
Yeah.
And also is nothing like having someone that's supporting you that's like that.
Yeah.
So it kind of is both ways, right? Now, I like to respect people's time.
Yeah.
But some things come up very rapidly and you can't control, and I need some help to put the fire out. And knowing that someone is dependable on and responsive on a moment's notice, that's huge.
Yeah, I didn't share this with you, but last year I made a trip to the Himalayas.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, and I'll tell you the story too. And in terms of the response, it's tied to the responsiveness. While I was there, I got a call and I answered. It was a call from AECom about an opportunity. And I answered and he said, okay, so can you send the stuff over tomorrow or day after? We need all this data calls items. And I said, well, I can't do it. I'm in the Himalayas. He goes, what? You over there? And you answered my call? I said, yeah. So that really opened the door into that relationship with AECom, which we never had. And they put us on a PSS contract, which is a professional support services contract, on a $3 billion bridge. And then put us on another PSS contract in Alexandria for a bus transit something. So that relationship really developed. So the responsiveness
I agree.
is so important.
Exactly.
Especially if you're in the leadership role of the company, right?
Yes.
So absolutely. Yeah.
What is your BD approach?
BD approach is there's no plan. So we don't have a BD division. So the way the company is operating right now,
you're your BD.
I'm the BD. Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm BD, and I also do the strategic planning kind of role. And
well, you have the mind for it as a project control person.
So the analogy I've always used, and I met some guy yesterday, and I told him that same, and that's what I tell everybody too in future is, you treat it like a foundation, right? Okay. So when we started, our foundation was a spread footing. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's it. Then in 2 years we went to piles. In 6 years, we drilled shaft,
Okay.
rock solid. What is the next division? So the construction management inspection, drill shaft. Went to utility management, drill shaft. Project controls, drill shaft. These are the areas that are secured now. Then we are into the ITS side now. So we're still piles there, but we're kind of cornered that market as well, getting very close to the drill shaft. We are spread footing in facilities, in buildings, and those kind of schools or K to 12 and all that. We're still spread footing. So our strategy and business plan and business development is now focused heavily on the spread footing areas of our growth.
And it's mostly in the Virginia area?
Yeah, Virginia has got so much work between VDOT and the localities just on the transportation side, not even getting into the facilities, right? So the reason there's so much work and you don't need to go anywhere because Virginia has its own funding source. So the Commonwealth is divided into 4 tax brackets. So sales tax from each region goes into transportation that cannot be touched to anything else. So what Virginia is doing is if they have a project, and you can see it in Hampton Roads, how all these projects that were supposed to not start until 2030 have started and maybe even finishing in a year, is because these special tax brackets are funding these projects. And when they fund them and get started, then they apply for federal grant, get the federal money, put that money back into this. So the money is flowing constantly for projects because they're being funded and then they recover it.
How does that relate to a lot of the PPPs that you're seeing?
I think they're moving away from PPP now. It's politics again.
Do you find success in the I've heard, some really positive feedback, like get the private entity involved.
It's huge.
It expedites the entire building process.
So there's, I'll tell you what the biggest advantage is on P3s. They do not fall under the federal guidelines of the erosion and environmental compliance. All this permitting that you need, they don't need to get all that. So that's why they're able to push all these projects faster and quicker. I mean, I'm a big supporter of P3, private money. Bring it in, build the roads, build the infrastructure, build mass transit, build whatever it is. But
a lot of the mega projects seems like going in that route.
Yeah, I mean, you have to because it's a huge investment.
Yeah.
And the rate of return is huge.
Mm-hmm. It's a win-win. Sounds like a win-win for everyone there.
But public transportation, you can improve that. But you can with private money.
Yeah, I definitely think that Virginia there's definitely room for improvement for public transportation or
and that's
high-speed rails and things like that can bring different communities together. They've been talking about this, like high-speed rail from Northern Virginia down to Richmond for many years. And so...
Well, they're doing something now better. So Virginia, that's why I love Virginia in terms of what they're doing on transportation, so much ahead. When you look at the state across the Potomac, Maryland is so backward, right, in terms of investing and developing. So what Virginia did is they bought CSX rights, the Commonwealth, right, a few years ago. So they paid $2.5 billion, and they have all the CSX track rights in the Commonwealth. Now what they're doing is they're converting those tracks to passenger rail, okay? So now you are connected from Northern Virginia to Richmond to Norfolk, to Petersburg, Roanoke.
I thought there's...
No, then the second line is going to be Richmond to Charlottesville. That's all CSX line abandoned. Okay. Charlottesville to Roanoke to Blacksburg, right?
So we went from Blacksburg because, oh man, I hate that 4-hour drive.
Yeah. And then the S line, the R to R, Raleigh to Richmond, they're connecting that. So eventually the Commonwealth will have a good rail network that you really can hop on a train and go to Blacksburg. You don't have to drive.
What about a high-speed rail?
High-speed rail, I know.
We need one like in Japan where...
The first high-speed rail is coming from Los Angeles to Las Vegas.
Yes.
They want the gamblers to come.
That's a PPP.
That's
right?
PPP? Yeah,
I think so. The one they built.
Yeah.
Because they're still building the high-speed rail from that connects San Diego, all across California.
Yeah. Sacramento to San Diego.
Yeah, and that's been like a 10-year project.
Yes.
But they do the Vegas to is it Los Angeles or somewhere in California?
Yeah.
And they get a private entity.
Yeah.
They said they're going to be done in like...
They're rolling.
Yeah, they're rolling.
Actually.
Love to get your take on changes that you're seeing. I always preach that, we're at another moment in history where you got to experience the whole .com era, right? Except this time it's like exponentially larger. And I think it's impacting the way we think about infrastructure. We're no longer geographically based, and so we're going to be relying a lot more on airports. People are going to be moving in and out of different places. The water infrastructure is starting to deteriorate across the country. The power needs to generate this AI revolution that we're going through currently. I'd love to just get your take on just infrastructure as a whole and what you think will be for the future.
So one of the challenges is obviously most of the infrastructure funding comes through the gas tax, and so the fear
in Virginia,
across the country,
Yeah,
it all comes from the gas tax. It's about 18 cents or 20 cents per gallon goes towards the infrastructure money, federal highway.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So once you start getting into electric and other modes of vehicles, impacts the money that's coming in, right? So that one, I think, eventually it's going to come. You can't stop it. They just got to find other means of sustaining the funding for infrastructure. So they may be electric, they may be hydrogen powered, maybe some powered, but you still need the roads. You still need the infrastructure for them to go on, right? So that will still be there, but this AI technologies are eventually creeping into our construction industry as well. With equipment being more AI driven, which means you have lesser operators, more of this automation. Even a good example is surveying, right? So if you back in the day, you would have a survey crew would have.
I used to be part of the survey crew.
Yeah, 10 guys, the chain and I was
the guy that was holding the...
Exactly. Now you got one guy. He's just got one device. He sticks it there, walks around, gets all the data and everything, and you're done, right? So that's translating more into the transportation side with the heavy equipment now, right? So they're using lesser and lesser of.
Well, they're trying to make. I see some of these AI or remote operators where you don't need a person to be there.
Yeah.
So one of the things that it was interesting was the concept that trucks, dump trucks, can be operated remotely.
Yeah.
And what that does is that you could actually have one person kind of just managing things because sometimes they're just idle.
Yeah.
I can see huge efficiencies where a person could be operating multiple machines.
Yeah.
On sites versus, you're idle, but you still need to be there. It's hard to hire half a person.
Yeah. I still think, at least for now, my thought process is it's very, politics is driving, is going to drive. And I'll tell you why. This is a good economic boost to the communities, right? People have jobs, there's continuity of work and all that. So I think this AI and this technology that is coming will be more on the professional side rather on the actual construction and the labor side, because that really affects the communities and it's going to play a big part in the politics, right? There'll be more on the professional side with, P6 or some drawings, ChatGPT to draw me a roadway or whatever, right? So I think that one will be more quicker than the actual labor force. Yeah.
First of all, I appreciate you coming out. I mean, you have so much knowledge that to share with people. I've learned a lot. We're kind of coming to an end. And I want to give you sort of the lasting remark. Anything you want to share, give you the opportunity to talk a little bit about your company or any thoughts that you have on your mind.
Yeah, I think life is short. You need to enjoy what you're doing. You need to understand you need to have the heart to understand the soul of what you're doing, right? So that's getting deep into it. So that's the spirituality part I'm talking about. That's essentially, what advice I would give in, meeting people, spreading your knowledge and expertise. Don't get mad, don't worry about things, and treat your company as a river that's only flowing in one direction. You can't go reverse, right? So it's always, you cannot back up.
Okay.
So you're moving forward all the time, and that's the analogy I use all the time to all our managers. We are the river, we are the train that does not stop at the station. We slow down, but we will not stop. And we will not say no to any opportunities. Take the key N and O out of your keyboard. We're not doing an O. We'll figure it out. We got enough brain power. We can figure it out to do any task.
I like that.
And so that gives the motivation and drive and pumps everybody up in the firm. The other thing that we've done in the company is we have no goals for anybody to meet. Nobody has any targets to meet. And that organically have kind of helped the pressure situation for a lot of the managers. They're not stressed out. They don't have the pressure of, oh man, I got to meet this goal or I got to win these jobs. And a good story is a marketing lady. We missed submitting a proposal, and the next day I had a meeting with her, and she thought she was going to get fired. We gave her a raise. The point is that you worked very hard, and we just didn't give you enough time to get into production to be able to go submit. It's not your fault, 100%, but you're working very hard. We're seeing your hours that you put in, the questions that you're raising, the critique, which is good. That's what we want. We don't want a yes man, yes sir. You want somebody to critique so that ultimately you get the best out of it. So that one moment, you could see the tears in her eyes from fear to joy. And that's exactly what we want to grow in the company, that don't be fearful. Enjoy what you're doing. You need anything, we'll support you. Whether it's for a PE exam or whether it's even, I'll share with you, even for a down payment for a house, we've even given those. So we're in a position right now, right? So we have some funds available. If somebody wants to buy their first home and they need a down payment, we have provided that support as well. And we deducted interest free, no interest, nothing. Small things like that go a long way, and that's how we're able to retain 95% of the staff. Nobody leaves. So it's essentially, have fun. Don't worry about competition, and there's so much work. Be truthful to your conscience, and if you believe in another power, then that power will take care of you. You just have to be good. Just do right, and everything else will be right. Good for you.
Well, I appreciate you coming on the show. So thank you.
Yeah, and I enjoyed it. Yeah. Thanks for offering me this.